kindergarten teacher, even though we don't talk about age. But I started teaching in 1974, so I love that someone up here is in my camp. So the best way to begin our day is with song. And of course, we can't be a teacher without feeling comfortable to just sing. So sit up tall. You're going to be my echo. Can you tell I taught kindergarten for many years? So I'm going to sing good morning, and you're going to echo good morning. You are fabulous. Okay, let's get it going. Good morning. Good morning. How are you? How are you? Very well, I thank you. Very well, I thank you. How about you? How about you? George asked us to speak, and this is scary, I'm the timekeeper, so I need you to tell me when. And you know I could go on forever. But George asked us all to reflect just a little bit on why did we become a teacher. And I can tell you from day one, I was an only child, still am, and I always wanted to be a teacher. So in my neighborhood in the summertime, I was the teacher and invited all of my friends to come into our garage, and I turned it into a classroom. They could not leave until they finished their projects. And then for summer vacation, when I was in college, I worked for the Parks and Rec, and I ran all of the arts and crafts and all of the games at all of our local lakes. I'm from upstate New York, so if I say coffee, you're going to know I have a little accent. But I have loved this profession since day one. I did start teaching in 1974. And the predominance of my career has been in the elementary level, kindergarten and first grade. I looped with my students multiple times. And then I had the great fortune of realizing after having many, many, many student teachers that maybe I could make a difference if I actually taught at the university level as well. So I taught kindergarten, reading recovery by day, and I taught at the University of Redlands for 7 years in the evening for their College of Ed. So I could really bring those fresh stories of what Andrew with the lift was doing that day. And I could really make a difference with my students to bring the real heartthrob of why are we in this profession. 10 years ago, my own children are grown. I too have two who are teachers. And I'm very proud of that. One who teaches culinary, of all things. I don't know how to cook. And one who is a history teacher in San Francisco. And we love to talk shop, and that's kind of fun. But 10 years ago, I was very fortunate to have the opportunity to come here to Leeward Community College to start the Associate in Arts and Teaching program. I've had a passion for making a difference from the moment I started in this profession. And my mantra every single day when I drive to school, no matter where I'm teaching, is just let me make a difference in someone's life today. Let me make a positive impact. Maybe something I've said is going to stick with them to give them that heart that says we can make a difference, we can change this world. And I've been working hard at changing the world. I gotta work faster, my hair's getting whiter. But I too believe that this is the most amazing profession. And the little seeds that we can plant right now are those that will bloom for many years to come. So I hope that you enjoy this day. This is a dream come true to have this room filled with all your beautiful teacher smiling faces. Because when we started designing this building, this was the dream we had, that this would be a hub for education for this island, and especially this side of the island. So with that said, I'm going to pass the baton, or microphone. I won't make you sing anymore. And I am honored to be part of this amazing team where together we can really support and nurture you in this profession. Thank you.
I made the mistake of assuming that she would start on that side. Aloha. Aloha. My name is JORELL MANOA. I know Bobbie said that the reason why she started with the song was because of all of her experience in kindergarten. But having taken multiple college classes from Bobbie, she starts her college classes like that. We were asked by some of our earlier speakers if we remembered how life was in the 60s. And I turned to one of my friends and I was like, oh, I do remember what life was like in the 60s. I remember in 10th grade we were studying American history. Anyway. It's good being here too. It's good being here. We were asked to share why we teach, what gets us out of bed at 4:30 in the morning to rush over to a class with a bunch of screaming little kids. And we were also asked to fit all of that in 5 minutes. So I made a list, and I tried to condense it as time went on. And even now, I think my list is a little bit too long. So I'm just going to share maybe one or two things, one or two reasons why I became a teacher. One reason is kind of selfish, and the other is less so. So I'll share the selfish reason first. Teaching was not my first ideal profession. When I grew up, I actually wanted to be an athlete. And then once the pounds started adding up, I decided to change to artistry. I actually wanted to be an artist for Disney. Once I realized that girls like guys who could play musical instruments, I wanted to become a musician. So I learned guitar and piano. I could play the trumpet. So there are all of these things that I wanted to be. And I had a really amazing experience that I do not have enough time to share with you right now, where I was able to teach a group of kids from the side of the island that I live on, from Nanakuli, in a place called Helilua. If anybody knows what Helilua is, they'll go, ooh. And I was actually able to take those kids under my wing, the kids that nobody wanted, and to actually help them learn some stuff, some church stuff. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I was able to teach them things out of a book that even adults don't want to read. So that made me want to get into this profession. And I realized, especially after taking some of Bobbie's and Judd's classes, that I can still be an artist. I can still be a musician. I worked in Waikiki as a Polynesian entertainer for 8 years. I can still dance hula in front of my class. We're actually preparing for our Cultural Day celebration. And I showed my students my dancing videos, and they were like, oh, so that's what hula's supposed to look like. So that's one of the reasons. The less selfish reason, and this is the main reason why I decided to become a teacher. Growing up on the coast, as Anne was speaking, there's a lot of stereotypes, there's a lot of preconceived notions that people have about people like me. I was really lucky to be raised by really good parents, but I know I have classmates who were raised by single parents, who were raised by an auntie, who were raised by an older sister, who were raised by people who did not graduate from high school, who didn't go to college, who don't hold steady jobs. And I could see the impact that had on my friends. And I could also see what it was like when we had teachers who would come to our schools, teach for a few months, get tired of us, and then leave. And I knew that we need something. We need something besides that. So my dream, and I told this in my college classes here, is that I wanted to teach on the coast and be at least one of the adult figures in those kids' lives who believe that they could become something more than what other people say they can become. Bobbie was talking about looping up with the students. I've looped up with the students that I have now. And I have one student who, she's in 4th grade. She reads at a kindergarten level. She does math at a kindergarten level. I've been working with her from last year to this year. This year in a math class, when we were adding mixed numbers, she looked at me and she said, Mr. Manoa, I get it. And she started standing up and she started zooming through her math work. And the students around her started cheering her on. And it was that moment that I knew that I was probably one of the only adults who believed that she, who can't read a book, could add mixed numbers and if I can have that experience every single day for the rest of my life, then I'll take it. Thank you.
So hard to follow you. I wish I would have had a chance. Hi, my name is Catherine Caine, and I am the 2015 Hawaii State Teacher of the Year. And that video was fabulous. That night, George, there were tears when we found out we got to give a scholarship to some deserving student who might not be able to go to college, so thank Phoenix University for that. I've been teaching about 30 years now. I started when I was 4 years old, and I really didn't always want to be a teacher. I started in San Diego at the university there, and I was going to be a psychologist. And they forced me into this teaching center to take notes and to look at things. And I walked in, and those 4-year-olds were fabulous. And I wanted to be there for the rest of my life. And so I became a teacher. And there are 3 reasons for me why I still go in at 6:30 every morning, and it's like new every day. The first reason is it's a learning environment, and it's continuous, and it's lifelong. I don't think I could say it any better than Francis Mayforth. And he said, teaching is an important event. It's a lifelong event that continues throughout your life. Never fully achieved, never fully denied. And that's the challenge and the fun of being a teacher. There's no ultimate end to the process. I'm still learning after this many years. So if you love learning, it's the greatest profession in the world. The second thing is the students. Every single day, you know, walking in to this learning environment, celebrating the small things, celebrating the big things. And I'm lucky enough, after 30 years, they come back to me. And it almost brings me to tears when I run into one of them. I ran into one on the Senate floor who I had in kindergarten. And he's the photographer there, and he was taking pictures. And he takes the camera away, and he looks at me, and he says, "Mrs. Caine, do you remember me?" And I looked at this face, and I knew the face. I'm terrible with names, as I told you before. And I said, "Give me your last name." And he said, "Niu." And I said, "Oh my, William, you've gotten a lot bigger since kindergarten." And it happens over and over again. But not only those bigger moments, but the smaller moments of celebrating every single day in the classroom. Yesterday, there was a hoop in the classroom. This boy who struggles every day to finish his work, he jumped out of his seat and he yelled, "I finished!" And the whole class just went into a cheer. So the positive celebrations of being with these students every single day in that learning community. And finally, and this might sound sort of 60s and subversive, it really is all about the future and having advocates for the future. And I'm not going to tell them what to think, because I don't know what they're going to experience out there. The challenges and the problems are going to be vast, a lot bigger than us right now. But I do know that if I teach them, I give them the tools to analyze, synthesize, and be critical thinkers, that I'll have a better world in the future. So it's that advocacy that I send them off with, yes, even in 2nd grade. So if you become a teacher, I promise you, you will be tired. You will be working so hard. You will be thinking when you're jogging down the street, well, how can I do this lesson better? But you'll never find a more rewarding profession in your life. So think about it, and my classroom's always open, so come see me. Thank you. I'm taking a class from him soon.
Good morning. So my name is Shane Asselstine. I am the Technology Integration Specialist at MOMILANI Elementary School, just up the street here, actually. I don't have a Teacher of the Year award, but I do have a 2015 ISTE Making It Happen award. So, it's just a slight level below that, you know. So, it's really hard to follow these two. I really should have sat here, actually, because you making such an influence in your community, and of course, everything Catherine does for everybody. So, my story's a little bit different in the sense that I didn't actually, like Catherine, didn't start out as wanting to be a teacher. I actually have a degree in architecture. And yet I'm teaching for some reason. I spent many years doing IT work. I wasn't surrounded by a lot of family influence. Sorry. My influences came from the teachers that I got to see. So I remember a 6th grade teacher teaching us social studies and making history engaging by creating clay models. I remember my high school teacher, high school counselor actually, counselor is not, it's not out there either. High school counselor who encouraged me to step outside my box and actually apply for college. And the biggest influence I had, or influence on me, was my aunt who teaches in California, a retired teacher now. I met her when I was 19, and she's been important to me pretty much every single day. These kinds of people are the kinds of people that make an impact on someone's life. That's why I teach. I want to see if I can be that teacher to make an impact on someone else's life. And when I look back at the memories that I've had in the 11 years I've been teaching, having students come in 7 o'clock in the morning, flood my room just so they can be part of whatever's going on in the lab, taking kids to conventions and conferences and having them present not for me but beside me, and showing what they're learning, and other things. There's so many memories you're going to have when you become teachers as subs. And one of the things I would say, is even if you become a substitute teacher, you need to become good at your craft. Come to work with that passion, and don't just come to work saying, oh, I'm substituting for a real teacher. You are going to be a real teacher. You are going to be able to make an impact. And when they talk about what I want to do with my life, I want to continue to make those impacts. So that's what I had to share. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kit Wong, and this is my 5th year teaching at my alma mater, which is MARYKNOLL School. And yeah, it's very nice to be back at my alma mater, and it's really heartwarming to see some of the teachers I had as a student there still teaching there today. Although it's a little strange because I still, they want me to call them on their first name basis, and I want to call them Mr. Mrs., but it's very nice to be working among them. And I just want to say that when I was at MARYKNOLL, I had some really phenomenal teachers who inspired me, to always do my best, and they taught me that dedication and perseverance is what's needed if you want to be great at anything. And one of those teachers was someone I was really close with from math team and lecture vehicle, as well as all his classes that he had, I took. So statistics, AP statistics, economics, AP economics, and he inspired me to go into economics. So when I went to college, I got a degree in economics, but then afterwards, I didn't know exactly what I was going to do with that degree yet. I didn't know I always wanted to be a teacher, but I guess serendipity. When I came back and I was looking for a job, one day I got a call from him because we kept in touch every so often to see, how we were doing. And he said, "Hey, are you looking for a job right now?" I'm like, "Yes, actually, I am looking for a job." And he said, "There happens to be a spot opening up at our school at MARYKNOLL because one of the teachers has to leave for their private reasons, and we need a teacher for AP statistics." And I was like, "I have no teaching degree. I have no teaching experience, but I took AP statistics for you. I loved it, and I would love to teach it if they will have me." So I came in for the interview. It was very nerve-wracking because it was 4 teachers, some of my former teachers and the principal there. But I guess I did well enough because after the interview, I heard back from them. They're like, "Hey, you can come on in and you can try and see, for this trimester, the rest of this 3 months of this school year, if you could come and see how you do." I'm like, "Great, thank you so much." And my former teacher was like, I'll guide you through if you need to. And he was very supportive. He was my mentor. And ever since then, after that first trimester, it was tough going into teaching for the first time, but it was really rewarding and it was really worthwhile. And he told me that, in order to know if you want to be a teacher, you have to do it for maybe 2 years. And then maybe after 2 years, if you're I'm still in it, then you're meant to be a teacher. I'm like, okay, so I know after 2 years, and after that trimester, actually they had another position for math coming up, so I took that position, so I stayed on as a AP statistics teacher, and then throughout the years I did some other courses, and now I mainly teach what my major was in, which is economics, and then I also teach AP economics and personal finance, and sometimes math as well, and it's just really great to be sharing something I'm passionate about every single day in the classroom, and I love being in that intellectually stimulating environment, and that allows me to be a lifelong learner. I'm always trying new things because I love seeing the engaged students, because when you try something really exciting and you love what you're doing, the students catch on, they care, and then I'm like, wow, this is wonderful. And I think so far the biggest compliment in my 5 years of teaching that I've had is have a student come up to me and tell me that, I didn't know what to expect coming in, but now after your class, I really want to go into economics, or better yet, they said they want to go into economics and teaching. So I'm like, wow, that's amazing, having that impact every single day. I also love teaching because outside of just being in the classroom, I get to work with youth in a variety of different settings. I'm the National Honor Society advisor, so I get to work with those students. So we do community service projects, we do blood drives and tutoring for the students in the community. But we also, for outside of that, I also coach several academic competitions, such as It's Academic Hawaii, Hawaii State Economics Challenge, as well as Life Smarts Hawaii. And all those competitions allow students to, show their passion outside the classroom, to apply their knowledge, and to hopefully learn something along the way and have fun. And those bonds that we build outside of the classroom then strengthen our bonds in the classroom. And when students know that you care about them, they really are willing to go that extra mile, and that's really what makes teaching so special for me. I don't think I can imagine doing anything else right now, because it's been a lot of fun, and I hope to continue this career. Thank you so much.
Okay, so we're gonna take part in the Aussie. Ready? Everybody lean in. Oh, George, you're so cute doing it. I don't know if I really need this, but let me know. My name is KAMEHAMEHA. I am the firstborn daughter of Clifford and Eileen Wayo, and we are 5 generations from Papakolea, Hawaiian homestead in town on this island of Oahu. I just wanted to share a little oli, or a little mahalo, to say thank you to this space. Thank you for this invite to share positive mana and good energy with all of you. And really, that's just how I center myself. So you get nervous, you gotta be nervous, you gotta do something like, okay. Yeah, some people do yoga. I am blessed and honored to serve as the Hokokahu, or the principal at Kekula o Samuel Malaya Kalani Kamako. We are a Hawaiian language, a pre-K to 12th grade, Hawaiian language immersion laboratory public charter school in Haiku on the windward side of Oahu. I'm also blessed that I was a haumana of Kumu BOBBIE. The only time I attended private school at Chaminade years ago in her art class, art for the classroom. I had to take them 2 times, I wasn't that good. Or she's just a really good teacher and I wanted to hana ho. But we were invited to, and then you know what, yeah, thank you George for inviting me, and thank you for giving me the heads up that we were going to be on video, so I didn't put extra eye makeup. Except that I stay talking after all these guys, and they make me tear up, so already the bugger is hashed, but yeah. So that's okay. If to my YouTube self, I'm so sorry that the eyeliner is all bust already, but that's okay. So I am a teacher basically because I want to be of service to kids who are just like me. Those kolohe. Yeah, I know, you're cracking up because that's you too. Yeah, I will spot you already. Kolohe, I can tell. those kolohe, not super akamai, but not too baboos either. A little bit right, average, middle of the road. Like I never win no awards, so I don't know why I'm on this panel. I got no awards to my name. But those kolohe ones, the ones who are hard to love, because that's me in a nutshell. Yeah, I was hard to love. Sometimes I still am a little bit. But I was blessed to have a series of adults who consistently showed patience and showed aloha. And not always like the nurturing kind aloha, because we love that, but the hard aloha too, yeah? The aloha, the deep one, the one that's a little bit, yeah, wring your neck a little bit, pull your ear, those kind. Yeah, and I had, I was blessed with all of these adults in all kinds of facets of my life, right? So in a nutshell, I would call them all educators and all kumu, but one was my coach, one was my kumu hula. Many of them were older mentors and friends who I got to hang out with and let me cruise with them, teammates, hello sisters and brothers. And so I was kolohe. I'm still a little bit kolohe, but you know, like my dad says, kolohe is akamai. It's just a different kind of akamai. So you gotta just, when you become a teacher, or actually I lie, because we're already all teachers, whether or not you're in the profession, yeah, if you are a role model, and if you service young people, and even if you just at the being nice to the guy in the checkout stand, the checkout line at Safeway, and he calls you auntie and you give him eye. Like, you just call me auntie. But you are a kumu, yeah, you are a teacher. And so when you push forward and when you advocate for things like aloha, when you advocate for things like fairness and equity, and when you advocate for opportunities, yeah, that's really, so that's the first reason I became a teacher, is because I know that get plenty students like me. Yeah, this one, and you over there, just like me. Yeah, and our kids need to see all of that. Our kids need to see us cry in front of them, have a little bit hard time answer that question. Yeah, our kids need to see our leg quiver a little bit, like, ooh, I don't know that one, I'm super nervous. And our kids need to see what we do and the steps we take to center ourselves, because they need to know that we're human. Because I think for a lot of the time when I was growing up, I was just like, I put all of my kumu on a pedestal, but really the ones who stay with me now and the ones who I recall and use their mana, in a positive way, of course, are the ones who were brave enough to show me that they were human and modeled for me these things like aloha and tenacity and service leadership. And so if you're makoko for long days and nights, yeah, planning and dreaming and creating, and if you're makoko to serve as a mentor for all of the youth of Hawaii who need every single one of us to be successful, who need every single one of us to be thoughtful, to be advocates for aloha, then this is the profession for you. You're not gonna make plenty money. You're gonna make good money, you're not gonna make plenty money. Yeah? Because you're gonna use your own money to, yeah, right? You're gonna use your own money in your classroom. Yeah? Yeah. She could have had 2 houses already, but she keeps using her money. Right? Yeah, but you're gonna be able, and like my hoa panel, I try to think in Hawaiian, in English, like my friends have already stated, if you're ready to be recognized by your students within your community, so it really means you get no sleep, but you also get lots of aloha, yeah? So if you're at Safeway and you don't mind running into your class, your students, and they're going, cool, you buy potatoes. Cool, you have a husband. Yeah, you know, those kinds of things. But if you are makoko to be a part of their lives in a variety of ways, whether you're their coach, whether you're the classroom teacher, whether you're admin, whether you're their seminary teacher in the morning at 5 o'clock when they all, no, I know. I mean, I'm not, but all my friends are. Yeah, and whether you makoko for them to come in and you let them actually touch all your internet and high-tech stuff because you trust and you aloha and you trust in your training of them. Yeah, and whether you're makoko to sing forever and ever, because that's what gets me going, yeah, singing and looking for ways to share your mana. So really, in a nutshell, being a teacher is like being a Care Bear. Yeah, so you get your opu, comes from your na'au. Yeah, in Hawaiian we call that na'au. I mean, it's opu too, but, and then you just gotta kind of Care Bear stare, yeah, aloha to everybody. I know. I know, it's plenty staring, kalawai. Yeah, so if you're not makoko, you gotta be makoko to always share from here. And always share from your na'au. I know, I tell you, the Care Bear is Hawaiian. All the time. Harry Potter too, but that's another discussion. So anyway, okay, so anyway, that's how I became a teacher. I'm stoked that you're all here and interested in helping me better perform my job. Because I cannot do it by myself, and this panel, we cannot do it by ourselves. We need all of you in all different kind of capacities to help us ho'oko, help us fulfill that kuleana. Because it is a kuleana, but it's good fun too. And then I know I'm already up with my 5 minutes. I will take one of his minutes because a little birdie told me, yeah, that it's his lahanau today. So I figured, what better way, other than going out with his brother them after for lunch, what better way to celebrate my fellow kumu and his lahanau? So we're going to all sing to him. His name is Kumu Steven. You guys ready? So that's the part you guys put inside the substitute pot on the bottom. Just in case you guys never know. Okay, here we go. Ready? Oh yeah. Happy birthday to you. Woo! Happy birthday to you. Woo! Happy birthday, Kumu Steven. Happy birthday to you. And many more.
Okay, good morning. Thank you for taking 30 seconds of my 5 minutes. This is the first time I've ever spoken last on a panel, and I realized I hate it. I'm always earlier on. At first, when I heard that they're starting on this side, I was really excited because I was like, yes, I don't have to go first. And now I regret it because they were all so good. And now I'm actually, for the first time, standing in front of a bunch of people to share Mana'a with. I am super nervous. I'm never nervous, and now I am. So, and then they gave the person who's probably the one who talks the most the mic last. So that's going to be a challenge, I have to say. I think the word long-winded has been used many times. It's synonymous with my name. My family's here. They can tell you how much I talk. Actually, I could spend the whole 4 minutes talking about how much I talk. But I'm going to transition into why I became a teacher and so on. So I heard a lot of things that are very similar to my experience and a lot of things that were a little different. I heard a lot of people, it wasn't their first choice. I always wanted to be a teacher. Except in 3rd grade, I wanted to be a male model. But that career path went a different way. After I did research and realized that I didn't quite fit the part. So I then transitioned into wanting to be a teacher. My mother was a teacher. I always found it to be a very noble career. And the other reason I really wanted to be a teacher when I was really young is because, surprise, I really like to talk. And I would have a captive audience who couldn't leave until the bell rang. So I said, well, this is the perfect job for me because they can't run away. If they run away, I can fail them. So I just get to talk in front of students all the time. But I don't have to compete with other teachers. That's why I'm so nervous. I'm the only one they get to listen to. So I went to the University of Portland, where I got a degree in secondary education. At the University of Portland, we have to go to career fairs and things, interview with different districts, and I didn't. I mean, I went to the career fair that I had to, but I was uninterested in teaching in Oregon. I only wanted to teach at KAMEHAMEHA schools. I would not want to do any other job on the planet, so when I got out of college, I immediately went and applied and became a substitute and just slowly worked my way into the system. I've been teaching for about 8 years at Kamehameha schools, Hawaiian studies, U.S. history, social studies, things such as that. And you know, I've been thinking about a lot while I've been sitting here, you know, because so many good reasons why to be a teacher. I can sum up why I want to be a teacher, why I think it's important to be a teacher, with just one reason. And for me, I get to wake up every morning and inspire. And I just love to inspire people. And again, my family's here, you can ask them. I will be at family gatherings and I will just be trying to teach them something about Hawaiian history. Or, you know, I talk to my cousins about being the best, and the world wants the best, not good enough. And if I could make a career out of just being an inspirational speaker, I would. But I don't know. Then I have to go find my own work. I mean, as a teacher, it's right there for me. So my lessons, there's a lot of content involved, but honestly, the real teaching is what happens between the lessons. The students who come into my office and share their stories and their lives with me and making those personal connections. I don't grade very quickly because I spend all of my free periods basically kind of being a social worker and working with these kids to get their minds in the right place to even learn, and trying to apply the content and the lessons to the grander scheme of their lives. I don't know, I really don't know how much money I make. I don't care about money at all. If I did, I wouldn't probably become a teacher. I find I have more than enough money to do what I want to do in this world. I don't do it for the money because there's something more valuable than that currency to me. I do it for the students who I can see in their eyes when I talk about mana and talk about, you know, seeking out the best opportunities and self-betterment and, you know, mastery, and then their eyes widen and they're like, wow, this makes sense, and they're getting it. That's my currency. When a student messages me or says after they graduate, you know, Mr. Choi, we just had a lesson on this and I remember what you taught me and it really made a difference in my life. That is honestly why I'm a teacher. And if you can wake up every morning and just be excited to go and inspire and love what you do. My father, I feel, didn't really love what he did. He did what he had to you know, keep us afloat. But ultimately, I didn't want that. I wanted to wake up every morning and be excited to go to work, and I am. And that's, if you want to be a teacher, you have to look at it that way. You can't look at it like, oh, I just got to go to my job, because you're going to disadvantage the students. You need to wake up and say, I can't wait to inspire. I can't wait to reach another student. That's my last thing, I swear. This morning, I had a student, she was on the news a couple years ago. She has a rare illness called moya moya, and she had it on both sides of her brain. And she had to go to a major surgery. And right before she went, she gave me a call. We went to, you know, get lunch together and talk story. And she told me that when she first heard, she was devastated. But then she started to think about not when Kamehameha united the islands and the content of what I taught in my class, and when Captain Cook arrived, which is 1778. I just love teaching. I'm sorry, you can learn a fact today. I'm a teacher. But she said it was my mana demonstrations. It's showing how to manipulate energy, how positive thought creates positive things happening. The secret about how to get what you want out of life, and how she's going to get through this better if her energy is high, thinking positive thoughts like the kahuna and like the people of old. And that was my paycheck. I don't even know where my paycheck goes. My wife gets it. she does stuff with it. I'm seeking out that. And so in essence, I'm selfish because I'm teaching because I want that feeling. And it just so happens that in my selfishness, I'm doing what I consider to be an extremely noble and valuable job, because you are inspiring people to be what they want to be in this world. So hopefully, that's why I came today. It's my birthday, but I wanted to come because I wanted to inspire maybe you all to pursue a career of inspiration, you know? So thank you very much.
if I could excuse, no, not if I'm going to excuse the presenters. If you would go on downstairs, everyone else stay seated for a moment. Again, kindergarten teacher, I'm going to show you how to exit in a moment. But you're going to go ahead, the elevator or stairs is to the lobby. I want to give them a moment to settle in, so I'm going to ask our panel, and boy, I'm going to be strict with the timer. No, don't get scared, you know. I want you to take a moment and think about one piece of advice that you would give to substitute teachers, and we know substitute teachers, give yourselves a huge hug. That's the hardest job in the world. You go into a classroom with your own bag of tricks. I subbed for a very long time, and many times there were no lesson plans, and you just bring out the songs. So you realize the importance that you play, because we really need to keep life going for these children. And I would walk in and say, I don't care if you change your names, I just really want us to get to know each other. So, as our presenters get settled in their classrooms, think about, I'll start at this end. One piece of advice you would give to folks that are going to substitute teach and then come into the teaching profession.
Oh, now I'm first. I don't have to think about it. I went from being, I went from being a substitute to a teacher, and sometimes they would just give me a lesson plan that said, you know, study hall. You know, a lot of teachers don't trust substitutes to be able to, I mean, at least at the high school level, I'm not gonna have them teach a lesson if they don't know the content. So, and then I would just go and teach anyways. I don't know, I would make up a lesson just because I love teaching and I wanted to teach. But transitioning from substitute to a teacher, you have to, you know, now you are in charge of your own curriculum. So you get to decide what is important enough to teach. And I just would encourage you that, you know, a lot of teachers, their first year they teach, they're going to make a brand new curriculum because it's all new. And then they kind of get set in their ways. And it just kind of perpetuates the same curriculum. But as we've heard, times are changing, careers are changing, strategies are changing. So I encourage you to kind of remember that transitional time from substitute to teacher, and do that every year. Like the rethinking, the reimagining of your curriculum, the adapting, because actually that adds an element of challenge to your job that, you know, makes your job not, you know, mundane and boring, and it is what's best for the students. So that would be my advice.
My advice to substitute teachers or anyone who's going from substitute to teacher in the classroom, that's kind of hard, but I think in a nutshell, it's important to know your content area, but it's also important to understand that you might be the only happy face, you might be the only positive voice. The snacks you provide for $1 off your side table might be the only meal your kid gets, that student gets that day. And so my advice would be always be there with compassion, be compassionate, have aloha, and not just for your students, have aloha for your admin. Because I know plenty of you guys think we just sit in the office and play on the computer. We don't, we do lots of stuff. So have aloha for your team, yeah, and always be brave enough to push, yeah, not too hard, yeah, but push slowly so that we can blossom into what we're supposed to be, which is great advocates for aloha and for all these keikis. So aloha, mahalo.
I actually just ran a blood drive at my school the other day, and when I do that, we usually hire a sub to take over my classes, and I was a little worried because we had just started our project for Hawaii State Stock Simulation, and we were having technological problems, not on our side, but on the website end, so I couldn't log them on. So I was like, okay, well, you know, I know you're really excited, you want to start trading, but we don't have to log the information yet, but you know, I'll try run from my blood drive over here, you know, on the sub here and see what's going on. But then my substitute plan was mainly just to like let them work research on their own, and then I'll try to stop by and get them logged in. And you know, you never know what to expect, because the students usually, they don't like having another teacher in the room, because they're not used to it. So sometimes it's really hard for substitute teachers, because I talk to them in the faculty lounge and they're like, you know, but most of the kids, I think they're pretty good. But when I entered that day, I saw something amazing. The substitute in there, Mr. Hughes, was teaching them stocks and how to look into, you know, investment tips and everything, and the entire class was totally zoned in on him, and I was like, this is amazing. Like, wow, like if you could do that for me every single day, that would be what I would, you know, be happy to see. And he was just like, you know, giving tips like, oh, you know, when I was first buying my Chevron stocks like 20 years ago, it was like $5 a share, and you know, after that, when it, you know, shot up, because you know, here's like sharing the story, Chevron was going bankrupt, like, potentially, and afterwards they turned around, and then the shares went up like however much. So he made you know, he's like, I made a couple bucks, and then the kids were doing math in their heads. They're like, you made at least a few $1,000s, and then he was like, yeah. And so it was really engaging, and it was really nice to see, you know, that all of you and you know everyone who's ever been a sub or is a sub has something really special to share, and I think that's great for you to, even if the lesson plan is very simple, to take the opportunity then to like share what you love and what your life experiences, because as a young teacher, I don't have that much life experience to share with them yet. So to have that perspective from other teachers, I think, is or other, you know, adults for them is very important. So I think just to remember that you all have really something really special to share with the students, and as you make that transition to being a teacher, I think the life experience is part of how you relate and make those connections with your students. Thank you so much.
Can I say ditto? No. So for me, I would say that, you know, every substitute teacher that I've really enjoyed having in my classroom is somebody who brought their own set of bag of tricks. You know, not waiting for me to bring everything and say, this is exactly what I want you to do at this time until this time, this time. I actually like giving substitute teachers a little bit of that time to see what they can do with the class, because if you take that time to take what you love and show them that you are human, and you will have far less classroom management problems, I promise you, because then they will feel attached to you. You got to think about it from their perspective. You're coming in here, my teacher has been here every single day of the year, they're sick, they're out at a conference one day, you're coming in here, why should I listen to you? Why should I care? Make them care by showing them that you care, you know, and bring that with you. So have your bag of tricks, you know, be prepared, and try to just be flexible. You know, sometimes I've had a sub every now and then who just is not flexible. It's like, well, you didn't write this down, and you should have an art of teaching as well. Practice that and think about that.
I think I'd say for substitutes, think about community. And for new teachers, think about community. Because for substitutes, come with that lovely bag of tricks, that special story. It's something that they wouldn't get from their regular teacher. And so you've enriched them already just by bringing something in that you're passionate about. Because that's what teaching is. It's about passion, as you said. First year teachers, I think it's super important for you not to feel alone. There isn't any question that you should be afraid to ask, you know, and perhaps you feel like you should know everything and you should be really professional, but I think if you reach out to others with questions, they may be able to support you, and in turn, you support your students. So you're not alone. And remember, you have something to share, and it's valuable to each and every child you touch.
So when Bobbie announced what we were sharing, I pulled my phone out and I had a thought and I decided to write it down. So I didn't want anybody to think that I was on Facebook. I was trying not to get my thoughts lost after hearing all of their wonderful answers. And I wrote it down because I didn't want to say it incorrectly. If I had one advice to give to substitute teachers, to new teachers, to anybody who works with children, it would be this. Don't lose sight of who you know they can become because of how they look now. I've had a lot of substitutes who left notes about my class's behavior. A lot of times they see me as their, especially now that I've been looping up with them so often, as their dad or their uncle. Sometimes they accidentally call me mom. But there's a respect that they have for the teacher. And sometimes when there's a new element in the room, sometimes it's a good thing. Sometimes they don't know how to respond to it. And a lot of times new teachers walk in, substitute teachers walk in, they see that and they automatically become disgusted and appalled. But all of us became teachers for the same reason, to turn them into their future selves. And sometimes we lose sight of that when we see how they act now. We see, I mean, they're little kids, they're still learning how to do things. So my advice for you would be, don't lose sight of who you know they can be just because of how they are now. You need to take how they are now and try to get them one step closer to who they can become. Thank you.
Can we have one last applause for our beautiful We knew it was going to be wonderful, but not this wonderful. Fantastic, fantastic.